wonderful story lovers, and welcome. Today we're going on a magical adventure to a sunny meadow where we meet a very special little duckling. In a beautiful meadow where a sparkling blue pond glistened under the sun, lived a little duckling named Wally. Now, Wally was a fantastic swimmer. His webbed feet were simply the best for paddling, and he could zip through the water faster than any of his brothers and sisters. But deep in his little ducky heart, Wally held a secret wish. He didn't just want to swim, he wanted to fly. Not the little hop and flap that ducks do to get out of the water, but to truly fly, soaring high up in the vast big blue sky. One bright morning, Wally was practicing his super speed paddle, making tiny waves ripple across the pond. Suddenly, a tiny jewel seemed to zoom right past his beak. It was Zippy, the hummingbird. Zippy zipped and zagged, hovered and hummed, his wings a blurry, shimmering rainbow in the morning sun. "Wow," quacked Wally, completely amazed. "You're the fastest thing I've ever seen. What's it like up there in the sky?" Zippy, hearing the little duckling's call, zipped down and landed gracefully on a daisy right by Wally's head. "It's amazing, Wally," he chirped, his tiny voice full of excitement. "You can see everything from up there, the whole meadow, the big red barn over yonder, and even the town just over the hill. The whole world looks like a giant, colorful patchwork quilt." Wally let out a little sigh, and his ducky shoulders slumped. "Oh, I wish I could see that," he said sadly. "But my wings are just for splashing in the water. They're no good for flying high." Zippy tapped his long, thin beak on a leaf, thinking hard. His hummingbird brain worked just as fast as his wings. He buzzed, a brilliant idea starting to form. "You can't fly by yourself, that's true, but maybe you could glide." Zippy buzzed with excitement. "I have an idea, a fantastic idea." Zippy explained his clever plan. The annual county fair was happening just over the hill, and today was the big kite flying contest. With Zippy's incredible speed and Wally's careful, gentle beak, they could build their very own kite. Wally's heart fluttered with hope. Could this really work? For the next hour, the meadow became a hive of busy activity. Zippy, moving like a tiny, colorful rocket, flew off and searched for the perfect material. He found the biggest, strongest maple leaf he could find, one that had turned a beautiful shade of gold. Then he flew to a spider's web, shimmering with morning dew. He politely asked the spider if he could borrow some long, shimmery strands of silk to use as the kite string. The spider, happy to help a friend in need, agreed. Meanwhile, Wally had a very important job. Using his beak as gently and precisely as a pair of tweezers, he poked tiny, neat holes in the maple leaf. He then carefully tied the strong silk strands on, making a perfect little harness for himself. Finally, he attached a sturdy twig to the harness to use as a handle. Their creation was complete. Together they carried their maple leaf kite to the very top of Sunnyside Hill, where a gentle, steady wind was blowing. It was the perfect spot. Wally took a deep breath and held onto the twig handle with his beak. His little heart was thumping with a mix of fear and sheer excitement. "Ready, Wally?" hummed Zippy, hovering in front of him, ready for takeoff. "Ready," quacked Wally, his voice a little shaky but full of determination. Zippy grabbed the end of the long silk string in his beak and took off. He flew up, 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 circling higher and faster. The wind caught the big maple leaf, and Wally felt a sudden, thrilling tug. His little webbed feet, which had only ever known the feel of grass and water, lifted off the ground. "I'm flying, I'm flying." He quacked joyfully, his voice carried on the wind. He wasn't just flying, he was soaring. The world below transformed. The pond he knew so well looked like a shiny blue coin dropped in the green grass. The big red barn was no bigger than a toy block, and just over the hill he could see the colourful tents and the spinning Ferris wheel of the county fair. It was just as Zippy had described, the giant, beautiful patchwork quilt. Zippy flew right alongside him, buzzing happily, his tiny wings beating a joyful rhythm. Wally glided through the air, feeling the wind lift him higher. He laughed a happy ducky laugh, feeling freer than he had ever felt before. He was a duck in the sky. After a long, wonderful glide over the meadow, Zippy gently guided the kite back down. They landed with a soft plop on the sweet-smelling grass of Sunnyside Hill. Wally stood there for a moment, his eyes wide with wonder, still feeling the thrill of his flight. "That was the best thing ever," he exclaimed, looking at his tiny friend. "Thank you, Zippy. Thank you so much." Zippy puffed out his little chest proudly. "Teamwork," he chirped. "You may be a master paddler, Wally, and I may be a master flyer, but together we can do anything." From that day on, Wally was the happiest duckling on the pond. He still loved to paddle and swim faster than anyone else, but he never felt sad about his wings again. He knew that even if he couldn't soar on his own, with a good friend and a clever idea, he could still touch the sky. And sometimes he and Zippy would build another kite. Just to remember that wonderful day when a duckling learned that dreams can come true in the most unexpected ways. Thank you for joining us on this heartwarming adventure. If you loved Wally and Zippy's story, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell for more tales from our magical world. See you next time.